Elena's journey through heartbreak and healing. My name is Elena. I am 31 years old and my life once felt like a steady rhythm, a job I enjoyed, a cozy home, and a marriage I believed was unbreakable. For 7 years I shared my world with my husband Lucas, the man I thought I'd grow old with. But in a single moment, everything I trusted crumbled, leaving me to navigate a heartbreak that reshaped my life. This is my story of love, betrayal, and the quiet strength of starting over. A foundation of stability. I grew up in a small coastal town, raised by my parents in a modest home filled with laughter and the smell of saltwater. My father was a fisherman, my mother a schoolteacher, and they instilled in me a love for stability and hard work. I dreamed of becoming a librarian, surrounded by books and stories that could transport people to new worlds. After high school, I earned a degree in library science, working part-time at a bookstore to pay my way. Life wasn't glamorous, but it was mine, and I was proud of it. At 22, I met Lucas at a community book fair. He was a graphic designer, charming and creative, with dark curls and a laugh that lit up the room. We bonded over our love for classic novels, spending hours debating plots over coffee. He was thoughtful, leaving notes in my favorite books, surprising me with sketches of places we'd visit someday. We married after 2 years in a small ceremony by the beach, promising to build a life of love and dreams. For a while we did. We rented a quaint apartment, decorated it with thrift store finds, and planned for a future with kids and a little house by the sea. Cracks in the foundation. Lucas worked freelance, his income fluctuating between $2,000 and $3,000 a month depending on clients. I worked as a librarian at the town library, earning a steady $4,000 a month. Together we managed paying rent, saving a little, enjoying simple dates like picnics or movie nights. But over time I noticed Lucas changing. He started staying out late, blamming tight deadlines or client meetings. His phone buzzed constantly and he'd angle it away when I was near. I'd ask, "Everything okay?" And he'd smile, kiss my forehead and say, "Just work stress, Elena." I wanted to believe him, but doubt gnawed at me. The night everything changed. One chilly autumn evening I was cooking dinner, spaghetti, his favorite, waiting for Lucas to come home. He was late again, the third time that week. The clock ticked past 8 p.m., then 9. My stomach churned, not just from hunger but from a sinking feeling. When the door finally opened, Lucas stepped in, his face tense, avoiding my eyes. No hug, no smile, he sat at the kitchen table, hands clasped tightly. "Elena, we need to talk," he said, his voice low. My heart raced, my hands trembling as I set down the wooden spoon. "What's wrong?" I asked, my voice barely steady. He stared at the table, tracing a scratch with his finger. "I don't feel the same anymore," he said. The words hit like a punch, stealing my breath. I've met someone else." My chest tightened, my throat burned. "What?" I whispered, hoping I'd misheard. He looked up briefly, guilt flickering in his eyes. "Her name's Mia. It wasn't planned, it just happened." My world tilted, I gripped the counter, my knuckles white. "It just happened," I repeated, voice rising. "Love doesn't just happen, Lucas. Betrayal doesn't just happen." He winced but didn't argue. "I'm sorry, Elena, I never meant to hurt you." A heart in pieces. I wanted to scream, to demand answers. How long? Why her? What did I do wrong? But my voice failed me. Tears strung my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. "So what now?" I asked, my voice shaking. He sighed, "I'm moving out. I need to figure things out." My heart shattered, but I stood tall, refusing to crumble in front of him. "Figure things out," I said bitterly. "You mean with her?" He didn't respond, just stood and headed to our bedroom. I sank onto the couch, watching as he packed. His clothes, his sketchbooks, the watch I'd given him for our anniversary. He took them all, each item a stab to my heart. I wanted to beg him to stay, to throw his things out, to yell until my lungs gave out. But I sat frozen, tears streaming silently. He paused at the door, bag in hand. "I'm really sorry, Elena," he said, his voice breaking. I didn't look at him. The door clicked shut, and the sound of his car fading into the night left me in a deafening silence. The weight of grief. I curled up on the couch, hugging my knees, and let the sobs come. They were raw, wrenching, shaking my whole body. My chest felt like it was caving in, my head throbbed, my heart ached like it would never heal. I cried until my eyes were swollen, until my throat was raw, until exhaustion pulled me under. When I woke, the morning light felt cruel. For a moment I reached for Lucas's side of the bed, empty, cold. Reality crashed back, a fresh wave of pain. I wandered the apartment, seeing his absence everywhere. His missing coat on the rack, his coffee mug unwashed in the sink, his sketchpad gone from the desk. The space felt hollow, haunted by memories. The days that followed were a blur of grief. I barely ate, food tasted like ash. Sleep was impossible. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Lucas's face, heard his words. At the library, I went through the motions, shelving books, helping patrons, forcing smiles. "You okay, Alina?" my coworker Jane asked. I nodded, lying. "Just tired." But inside, I was unraveling. Friends tried to comfort me, saying, "You'll get through this, or he doesn't deserve you." Their words felt empty. How do you move on when your heart is still tethered to someone who's gone? The pain of seeing him move on. Nights were the hardest. The apartment was too quiet, the bed too vast. I'd clutch my pillow, replaying every moment of our marriage, searching for signs I'd missed. I found his old texts on my phone, sweet messages from years ago, and cried harder. I wanted to call him to demand why, but pride stopped me. I knew he was with Mia now, living a life that didn't include me. The thought burned, but I refused to chase someone who'd chosen to leave. One Saturday, I went to the grocery store, needing to escape the apartment's ghosts. Passing a cafe, I froze. There through the window was Lucas, sitting across from a woman, young, radiant, her hair catching the light as she laughed. He was smiling the way he used to smile at me. My stomach twisted, my hands went cold. Then he looked up, our eyes locking for a heartbeat. His face shifted, surprise, guilt, maybe regret. I didn't wait to find out. I turned and walked away, my steps quickening until I was running, tears blurring my vision. I ran until my lungs burned, until I reached my car and locked myself inside, sobbing against the steering wheel. But these tears were different, not just grief, but anger, resolve. Lucas was gone, and I had to let him go. A turning point. The next morning, I made a choice. I slipped off my wedding ring, placing it in a small box with our old photos. It hurt, but it felt right. I forced myself to eat breakfast, toast and tea, simple but a start. I sat by the window, watching the ocean in the distance, its waves steady and unyielding. The pain was still there, sharp and heavy, but I wouldn't let it define me. I was more than Lucas's wife, more than this heartbreak. Rebuilding a life. I threw myself into work, reorganizing the library's community programs. I started a book club for teens, pouring my energy into their stories, their dreams. Slowly, I began to feel like myself again, not the old Alina, but a new one, stronger, scarred but standing. I redecorated the apartment, painting the walls a soft blue, replacing Lucas's chair with a cozy reading nook. Isabella, my cat, became my constant companion, curling up beside me as I read late into the night. One evening at the book club, I met Clara, a volunteer artist who helped the kids with creative projects. She was warm, with a quick wit and a story of her own, a divorce that left her rebuilding. We started talking, first about books, then about life. Over coffee, she shared her journey of rediscovering herself, and I found myself opening up about Lucas. "You're stronger than you know," she said, her eyes kind. "You're already surviving." Her words stuck with me, a reminder that I was moving forward, even when it felt like standing still. Finding strength in solitude. Months passed and the pain dulled, though it never fully left. I started journaling, writing down my thoughts, my hopes. I took up yoga, finding peace in the quiet stretches. I saved for a trip to the mountains, a place Lucas and I had planned to visit but never did. I went alone, standing on a cliff, feeling the wind and the vastness of the world. For the first time I felt free, not from pain but from the weight of his absence. A final closure. One day a letter arrived from Lucas. "Alina, I made a mistake," he wrote. "I miss you, can we talk?" I held the paper, my heart racing, but not with hope, with clarity. I didn't want him back. He'd chosen another path and I'd found mine. I wrote back, polite but firm, "I wish you well, but I'm moving on." I mailed it, feeling a weight lift. A new beginning. Now at 32, I'm rebuilding. I've enrolled in an online course to learn digital illustration, blending my love for art and design. The library is thriving, my book club a small beacon for others. Clara and I are close friends, maybe something more someday. Isabella purrs beside me as I work, and the apartment feels like home again, not Lucas's, but mine. Lucas taught me love could be beautiful, then brutal. His betrayal broke me, but it also showed me my strength. I'm not the woman I was, waiting for him to come home. I'm Alina, librarian, dreamer, survivor. One day I'll love again, but for now I'm learning to love myself. Every ending is a beginning, and this is mine. Thank you for listening, dear subscribers. If my story touched you, like, comment and subscribe for more stories of resilience and renewal. Share your own journey below. Let's lift each other up.